Welcome to our college briefing show. Today, we've got a mix of intense news stories and inspiring reports to keep you informed and engaged. First up, Hong Kong is holding a crucial legislative election right after a devastating fire that claimed nearly 160 lives. The city is trying to boost voter turnout with extended hours and incentives, but the event is also a reflection of the political climate, strict candidate vetting, and increased Beijing control. It's a tense moment, and public sentiment is definitely in focus. Next, we dive into the intriguing story of Jasveen Sangha, dubbed the Ketamine Queen. She led a glamorous life in LA, but behind the scenes, she was deeply involved in drug trafficking that connected her to the overdose death of actor Matthew Perry. Her story is a stark reminder of how wealth and social status can hide darker realities, and it highlights the dangerous intersection of high society and illegal activity. Finally, in a proactive move against the opioid epidemic, Georgia is equipping all public schools with Narcan kits. This initiative aims to save lives by making overdose reversal tools readily available, turning tragedy into prevention. With full rollout expected by spring 2026, it's a hopeful step toward addressing a serious public health crisis. Please continue to watch for more detailed stories. The BBC vividly describes Hong Kong's recent legislative election, set against the somber backdrop of a devastating fire in Taipei that claimed nearly 160 lives. The government's extensive campaign to encourage voter participation, complete with colorful posters, free entry to public pools and museums, and even a catchy theme song inspired by cantopop star Aaron Kwok, aims to foster a festive atmosphere amidst the tragedy. Despite these efforts, public apathy persists, partly fueled by the memory of the fire and the political reforms introduced after the 2019 protests, which have significantly narrowed the democratic landscape. The election, heavily controlled to ensure loyalty to Beijing, features a reduced and vetted candidate pool, with many incumbents stepping down under Beijing's influence. Experts suggest that voter turnout may remain low, reflecting public disillusionment and the complex sentiment that blends support for stability with frustration over governance failures, especially in the wake of the recent disaster. The Associated Press paints a similarly poignant picture, emphasizing the election's role as a barometer of public opinion following the deadly blaze. Authorities have made concerted efforts to boost turnout through extended voting hours, subsidies, and public campaigns, but the tragedy has cast a shadow over the process. The fire has exposed systemic issues in building safety and oversight, prompting investigations, arrests, and swift regulatory responses, including the removal of flammable scaffolding materials. Yet, the emotional weight of the disaster has led to a subdued campaign atmosphere, with some candidates and voters hesitant to engage fully. Hong Kong leader John Lee insists that continuing with the election is vital for stability and reform, but the public's response remains cautious, with many questioning the government's accountability and the integrity of the electoral process itself. The BBC's in-depth storytelling about Jasveen Sangha reveals a stark contrast between her privileged upbringing and her dark involvement in the illegal drug trade, culminating in her plea of guilty for supplying ketamine to Hollywood's elite, including the late Matthew Perry. Sangha's story is a tragic narrative of a woman who seemingly had it all: wealth, education, and social status, yet secretly operated a clandestine drug network that contributed to Perry's fatal overdose. Friends recount her transformation from a socialite into a drug dealer, driven by a desire for social status and the allure of Hollywood's glamorous lifestyle. Her case exposes the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry's relationship with illicit substances, highlighting how her once innocent social life spiraled into a dangerous enterprise. As Sangha faces potential decades in prison, her story underscores the devastating consequences of addiction, greed, and the hidden struggles behind a seemingly perfect life, leaving friends and family grappling with shock and regret. The Globe and Mail reports a significant legal development involving the FBI and former Director James Comey. A U.S. federal judge has temporarily barred prosecutors from using evidence obtained from Daniel Richman, a former attorney and Comey's associate, in the dismissed case against Comey. Richman's lawsuit claims the government violated his Fourth Amendment rights by seizing and searching his electronic devices without a warrant, an assertion that the judge has preliminarily accepted, ordering the government to secure and segregate his materials. This legal obstacle complicates efforts to revive the case, which was dismissed earlier due to unlawful prosecutorial appointment, and adds a layer of complexity as the Department of Justice considers new charges against Comey. The case's outcome hinges on ongoing court decisions, with Richmond seeking the return or deletion of seized materials and prohibiting their future use, while concerns about mishandling during investigations into leaks persist. Meanwhile, Yahoo US covers the opening of the Center for Intellectual Freedom at the University of Iowa, a new initiative designed to uphold traditional educational values amid ongoing debates about academic freedom. The center's unique positioning outside the university's direct control aims to protect it from internal political pressures, allowing for more open debate. Experts warn, however, that internal university politics and the influence of radical factions could threaten its mission. During the inaugural event, discussions highlighted the importance of strong, committed leadership and clear hiring policies to safeguard the center's integrity. The center's future depends on strategic planning, including establishing a cohesive vision, controlling admissions, and addressing potential ideological conflicts. State officials and advocates expressed optimism about its prospects, emphasizing the importance of safeguarding academic freedom against internal and external pressures, especially amid political tensions and ideological battles within higher education. Nikkei Asia reports on the opening of Hong Kong's Legislative Council election, set against the backdrop of recent tragedy and political upheaval. The city is mourning the victims of a devastating fire at Wong Fuk Court, which has spurred calls for accountability amid concerns over substandard construction materials and possible corruption. The election, which follows the 2019 pro-democracy protests and the implementation of the national security law, is characterized by a fully pro-Beijing candidate slate and reforms that limit electoral competition, including candidate vetting and reduced direct elections. Authorities are extending polling hours and relocating voting stations to boost turnout in a context where voter engagement remains uncertain. Analysts view the election as a test of Beijing's control over Hong Kong, with officials aiming to demonstrate the effectiveness of a patriots ruling approach and solidify political stability after recent social unrest. According to WSBTV.com, Georgia has launched an ambitious initiative to distribute Narcan, an opioid overdose reversal kit, across all public schools in the state, transforming tragedy into prevention. This effort, funded by opioid settlement dollars managed by the Georgia Opioid Crisis Abatement Trust, aims to equip over 2,300 schools with life-saving kits containing naloxone, PPE, and emergency information. The program, supported by the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities and the Georgia Department of Education, is part of the Georgia Overdose Response Partnership, a proactive strategy aligned with Wesley's Law, which empowers school staff to administer opioid antagonists with immunity. Distribution began in the fall, initially reaching 9 regional education service agencies serving major metro Atlanta, Southwest, and Central Georgia, with the final phase in spring 2026 to ensure statewide coverage. Community events called Stuff the Box will bring together school and community leaders to assemble these kits, emphasizing a collective effort to recognize and respond swiftly to overdose emergencies. The initiative also includes training resources to prepare staff effectively, all aimed at safeguarding Georgia's youth from the devastating impacts of the opioid crisis. South China Morning Post highlights the inspiring story of Argy Legeros, a remarkable 71-year-old yoga teacher whose youthful appearance and vibrant health seem to defy her age. Having faced early tragedy with the loss of her parents in a plane crash and navigating life's hardships through her physical pursuits, Legeros credits her lifelong dedication to daily exercise, especially her rigorous yoga routine, as the secret to her enduring youthfulness. Her disciplined regimen, rooted in the Bikram style of hot yoga, helped her cope with grief, raise her son single-handedly, and maintain her health despite osteoporosis diagnoses. Legeros's holistic lifestyle, comprising morning meditation, facial massage, a Mediterranean-inspired diet, and intuitive body listening, illustrates her philosophy that staying active and connected to one's inner self is the key to aging gracefully. Her story is not just about physical vitality but also about resilience and the power of discipline, inspiring thousands worldwide through her social media presence and retreats, emphasizing that age is just a number when one nurtures both body and mind. Yahoo US reports on the mounting crises faced by Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Defense Secretary, amid allegations of war crimes and mishandling classified information, yet he remains steadfast in his support from Donald Trump. Hegseth's tenure is marked by controversy, including accusations of reckless military actions in the Caribbean, where recent strikes have come under scrutiny for potentially violating international law, and a report revealing his violation of Pentagon policies by sharing sensitive intel via messaging apps. Despite Democratic calls for his resignation, Hegseth dismisses these criticisms, asserting his authority to act decisively in defense of national interests, echoing the aggressive rhetoric of the Trump administration. The article underscores the tense atmosphere within the Pentagon, with right-wing pundits replacing traditional journalists in the press corps, and highlights the ongoing violence and political tensions, such as the injury of a National Guard member in Washington, D.C., amid a broader narrative of division and controversy surrounding Trump-era policies and leadership. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.